Welcome, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for tonight's Immersion Middle School and High School Program Meeting webinar. We are so excited to have our middle and high school families here as we explore the next steps of our dual language immersion programming, where students continue to grow their bilingual, biliterate, and multicultural skills. I'm Sarah Vianney-Vento, the proud coordinator of World Language and Immersion for the Appoquinimink School District. A special shout out to our amazing families and immersion learners who continue to inspire our work every day, and a warm welcome to our first cohort of Chinese immersion learners, now in 8th grade and moving into high school next year. Congratulations on 9 years of Chinese immersion education, and also a special thank you to our 5th graders at Bunker Hill who will be joining Silver Lake and Townsend Elementary learners at Reading next year for middle school. It's really an exciting time to be an immersion learner. Before we dive in, let's take a moment to recognize and welcome some of the key leaders who do help make our dual language immersion program possible. Panelists, as I introduce you, could you please say hi? And because we're on a webinar, they're going to come off of mute and just wave and say hi to you so you can see their face quickly, so that all of our families have a face to go with the name. We're joined by Rebecca Feathers, Director of Secondary and Elementary Teaching and Learning. We're also welcomed by Dr. Yi Young, who is our Associate Professor at DSU, our Executive Director of DSU Chinese Language and Culture Research Center, and our partner at the High School Bridge Program for both Spanish and Chinese immersion. We have Jessica Hernandez Perez, who's our Spanish immersion specialist for DDOE, works closely with our program. We have Jen Campbell, who World Language Specialist for our Appoquinimink School District. We have Mike Trago, who's our Supervisor of College and Career Readiness. Cantwell's Bridge Middle School, who includes our testing coordinator, Dora Veit. So there'll be 2 people on screen. Thank you. Oh, 3, I'm sorry. Great, thank you. Everett Meredith Middle School, including our testing coordinator, Olivia Suhanik. Thank you. Reading Middle School, Jamie and I believe Leah. Odessa High School, Brent Perry. Middletown High School, Appoquinimink High School. It's Catherine Herring just flashed. There she is. Thank you, Catherine. And last but certainly not least, all of our dedicated teachers and our staff who work every day to support our bilingual learners. Tonight, we'll share information about the articulation of our immersion program in the middle school for all of our 5th grade families and high school for all of our 8th grade families, the pathways your students can follow, and the many opportunities that are available to you in our immersion program. We'll answer all of your questions throughout. Please use the Q&A box that you'll see on the bottom of your screen. We're also recording this and we'll be sending this to all of our families, whether you're here tonight or not. So everybody will have this. So let's get started together on this next step in our multilingual journey. I'm going to share my screen. Tonight, here's our agenda. And I just kind of went over this a little bit. We're talking about middle school and high school immersion program, what this looks as the next step in your immersion journey, some of the pathway and career connected learning opportunities. So a little bit of a sneak peek into the pathway preview night that they host at our high schools. The choice process for our high schools, this is Spanish immersion only, specific only, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Language opportunities, so earning credit, our certificate of multiliteracy, different things that are available to our immersion learners throughout their middle and high school experience. AP opportunities and the timeline for that. And then any questions, like we said before, if you have them as we go through this, could you please drop them in the Q&A button that's below your screen. To start off, I wanted to just talk quickly, and this might be redundant. Some of you are living this right now in 6th grade, But for right now, I want to talk about what our DLI program looks like in sixth grade. And what I did for the next few slides is I just tried to break this up into what we offer in our language classroom, so what the target language classroom is for Spanish and Chinese, and then also the assessments that you can expect to have during those years. And you'll see how that changes throughout the middle school and high school. So our dual language program classes, that's a little bit unique in our program. We're the only district that offers 3 classes in the target language in middle school. Are the Chinese or Spanish language arts class. We call it SLA or CLA. Social studies, which is in Chinese or Spanish, and also science. The language assessment that the kids will get in sixth grade are the STAMP test. This is a standards-based measurement of proficiency. It's the Avant assessment. And we'll be talking a lot about, it's not offered in the sixth grade, but we will be talking about in the sixth grade opportunities for, and the curriculum does include opportunities to learn and get better at the skills that are assessed on the advanced placement test. And we're going to talk a lot about that today too. So you're not taking the assessment in sixth grade, but we are going to talk about the opportunity to take it and what that means for you as you progress in your immersion career. In seventh grade, the dual language program classes here are the same. So you have your SLA, your Spanish language arts, you have your Chinese language arts, you have your social studies and your science all in the target language. And the language assessments here, you say it gets a little bit more serious as we get into seventh grade. We have the STAMP test, of course, that's the one they've been taking since the third grade. So this is the standards-based measurement of proficiency. This is the same test, like I said, that it was the Apple or it was the STAMP test, the same kind of a test that you're taking or that they have taken every year. And then we have the advanced placement test as an opportunity. And this is offered as a test in May. So we're going to talk a little bit about who would be able to take this test and what we recommend for our immersion learners. But what this means basically is that they'll take the test in May. And I know the buildings have been talking about it already. A score lower than 3, what we're going to recommend is that not only do you take your same classes that you took in 8th grade again that year, so you'll take the SLA, CLA in 8th grade, and we want to recommend that you retake that AP test if you get a score lower than 3. Some of our students have taken this test and gotten great scores their first time around. And actually they are able to, in 9th grade, take the beginning of the bridge program, which we're going to talk a little bit about too. However, they need a score of 3, 4, or 5, preferred 4 or 5, according to our MOU. But we'll take your 8th grade class and then jump right into that bridge program, taking those dual enrollment classes in 9th grade, as long as you take that AP test and pass it with the 3, 4, or 5. And that can be done in starting in 7th grade. In 8th grade, same 3 classes are available. We do Spanish, Chinese language arts, social studies, science, again in the 8th grade. And a little bit different here with the STAMP test and the advanced placement test. The STAMP test is administered a little bit earlier in the school year, so it's given in December. The reason for that is that the score on the STAMP test in the 8th grade determines how many credits that the student will earn towards their transcript when they get into high school. So for example, in the state of Delaware, there's a 2-year requirement, 2-credit requirement to take a world language to graduate from any Delaware public school. The STAMP test for our immersion learners, they'll take that in the 8th grade. That test, their score on that test will determine how many credits they'll get. Most of our kids get anywhere from 2 to 4 high school credits. They're allowed up to 4, which is beyond the requirement. But based on their 8th grade score, that's what they'll get and earn on their transcript in high school. So they won't actually have to fulfill that requirement. We'd love for them to stay in a language, of course, but that's what that means. So it's a little bit different in the 8th grade for our kids. Again, there's another opportunity to take the advanced placement test. Again, it's administered in May. Again, the score lower than 3, then we would prefer that the child go into the AP Spanish or Chinese language and culture course, and then also take the AP test again after their 9th grade year, taking the course. Or if they get a score of 3 or higher, then they're entering into our 9th grade bridge program into our DSU 250 course, which is a unique course to Appoquinimink and Delaware State University that we've created in partnership for our immersion learners so they can start earning those dual immersion credits in their 9th grade year. So a little bit more about that later, but that's kind of the setup of middle school. In high school, I know I changed up everything in here, so just bear with me here. In the high school program, it's a little bit different. So we like to kind of say that it's a choose your own adventure. We say that for a number of reasons. Of course, we want every kid to walk across that stage that started as kindergartner in our program. We want them to walk across that stage as seniors. Actually, they actually be more like grade 16 for them, given the amount of credits that they're able to earn. But we really do look forward to all of our kids that start in the program, ending with the program. So there's many entry points into the high school program. We realize that there's a lot of different, and I have somebody that's going to talk about this a little bit more. There's a lot more that goes into scheduling when they get into high school. But for us, in terms of immersion courses, we have a few different things that we are proud to offer and that we want to make sure that we talk to you about. So even though these are in grade order, we do have 4 classes that we work with DSU on, and we want them to be enrolled in all of those classes. But we are also offering additional opportunities and opportunities for them to enter into this program at any point in time as their schedule allows, if they can. So in 9th grade, and I said this a little bit earlier, but in the 9th grade, Spanish immersion, of course, is offered at our 3 high schools. It's at Appoquinimink, Middletown, and Odessa, so they have their choice of where to go. We're going to talk a little bit about the choice program. For Chinese immersion, you're all on the Fairview campus, so you will be going to Odessa High School and staying there as you did since Spring Meadow. And so in 9th grade, depending on how they score in their 8th grade year on that STAM test, you could be going either right into a bridge program or taking the AP course and test again. So that's the first thing that I have here is the AP Spanish or Chinese and language class, and then the retest option. They're also offered a compass class. We did that this year in Spanish immersion. So for once a week, they're offered a compass class that talks about different components of choosing a job and what it looks like post high school, what the world looks like at that point in time, interview skills, all of these wonderful things that kind of dovetail really nicely into some of the coursework that we do at DSU. So that course is actually offered once a week, and it's offered in the language. So they do that course right now. Our Spanish immersion learners are in that class, taking that class in Spanish, which is another great opportunity for those kids to collaborate and come back together. They have the bridge enrollment, which is the AP of 3 or better in 7th or 8th grade year. So we'll look at their AP scores and put them into the bridge program. And in 9th grade year, what that looks for our kids is Spanish or Chinese 250, and that's called Communication in a Digital Age. It's a really exciting course that kind of takes our kids from a very rigorous, social studies, science, and they're doing all of these great things with academic language, and it takes them into the real world in really interesting ways and really innovative ways. And so we're really proud of this class and how far it's come and really working on it every year to make sure that it's up to date with all of the great things that we know the world can offer us. And DSU has been a great partner in this. But we wanted to offer that to our kids as a way to kind of motivate them to continue to stay in the language and continue to stay with our immersion program. In 10th grade, students eligible for certificate of multiliteracy for the first time. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So here's a chance for them to really earn on all of the great things that they've been doing on their STAM test and their English language requirements. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. They'll have the compass class. And then in this year, if they're in the bridge program, and they've taken 250, they'll take Spanish 334, which is advanced Spanish diction and conversation. This is a DSU class. And our DSU class is offered at the high schools. They don't have to travel for that class. So our teachers are trained by DSU. They plan with DSU. That'll be true for both Spanish and Chinese as it comes on board next year. And then the other course, their 10th grade year, if they continue for Chinese, is Chinese 305, Chinese Civilization. That's also a DSU class. In the 11th grade, compass class, and we want them to have the opportunity to complete their senior capstone in Chinese or Spanish. They begin to work on that pretty early. We also offer Spanish 306, Latin American Civilization, that's our DSU class, and our Chinese 334, Advanced Chinese Conversation and Language Use. And then in 12th grade, again, we want them to continue with that Compass class and please have the opportunity to complete their capstone in Chinese or Spanish. We would love to applaud our kids who are doing this and ending their career in the language with the capstone project. And then we also offered to kind of finish out the four classes, 301 for Spanish, which is Intermediate Spanish Composition and Stylistics 2, and then Chinese 301, Intermediate Chinese Composition and Stylistics 2, both DSU courses. Just so you know, DDOE, because we are a funded program through DDOE, the state will recognize our DLI learners with 1 cord for completion of the AP test. And then if they take 4 years of the language, so for example, in the bridge program, or they study AP and then they take the 3 years of bridge courses, the dual enrollment classes, they'll earn a second award in high school, or second cord in high school, pardon me. We also have Dr. Young, who's joining us from DSU, who's been a great partner. And he wants to talk a little bit about what this all kind of means to a parent, what this all means when you look at pricing and when you're looking at the cost of things post-secondary. So we're really excited to have him here. And I'm going to turn my camera off and let him talk a little bit about the specifics of these courses and what this really means as a post-secondary expert.
Thank you, Sarah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this amazing session. So I am the coordinator for the Bridge program here partnered proudly with Apple School District and Delaware State University. I'm overseeing both Spanish and Chinese. The 300 level courses, 334, 305, and 301 in Chinese side are developed by me personally. And we have a system that qualified teachers at Apple will be able to teach these courses with coordinating capacity of me as a liaison. So for the Chinese 305 Chinese civilization, the students will learn various interesting facts about Chinese civilization from ancient times to modern age, including artifacts, and architecture, literature, and music. And there are various activities to be involved in creating project-based learning experience. For the Chinese 334 Advanced Chinese Conversation and Language Use, this is a theme-based language course that are more focused on the spoken skills and listening skills, speaking skills and listening skills for our students. The students will also go through various themes, including new media and applying, for example, travel documents for visiting China. And while students doing this, they will be able to learn how to use Chinese at an advanced level for speaking and listening. And we focused a lot on the practical usage of Chinese language and hoping that students will be able to continue using Chinese for future career and professional opportunities. And lastly, we have Chinese 301, which is the more challenging course, as this focuses specifically on literacy. We have various Chinese classics, short stories, rhetorics built into the course, where students will learn more on reading Chinese classics, like the 4 ancient Chinese classics, but also work on project and drama-based acts and plays to be able to immerse themselves in reading and writing of the Chinese language. And we are very confident that our teachers at Apple School District will be able to deliver the highest quality of teaching for these 3 courses. We do have a specific course, which is Chinese and Spanish 250, only available for Apple School District, as our students go through the AP experience rather early. So this is the course, as Sarah has correctly pointed out, very exciting interdisciplinary course where we have students engaging various aspects of their other subject areas to be able to look at how communication works in a digital age using a Chinese mediated communication strategy. Now, in terms of practical implications, all 4 courses will. If the students go through all 4 courses, each course will be equal with 3 credit hours, three course credits for DSU, which means that if you go through the 9th grade to 12th grade through the Bridge program from Chinese 250 to all the 300 level Chinese courses or Spanish courses, your child will be able to receive 12 credit hours from DSU, and these credits are also recognized by the University of Delaware. So really, this is a very cost-effective method for this students to be able to not only practice and go through their immersion experience, but also get college credits at the same time. And for each of the course, the state of Delaware do offer a $2,000 flat fee, and for the entire cohort. So this is not an individual-based fee, but an entire cohort for $2,000. So practically, if we have more students enrolled, the cheaper it will be for our parents. And again, bearing in mind that you're receiving 12 at most 12 credits for DSU, which is recognized also by the University of Delaware. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that perspective. We wanted to show you some, speaking of the AP, because we know that the AP, according to our MOU with DSU, really is the stop gate into the bridge program into high school. So we really wanted to make a big point about the opportunity to take the AP in seventh and eighth grade in middle school when the kids are given the opportunity. So we already do a lot of work in encompassing parts of the curriculum and skills and tasks that the AP test, which is a little bit of a different test, obviously created for college students. For high school students. But we wanted to bring the opportunity to our seventh and eighth graders because what we know about this is that about the AP test in general and tests that are created in this way is that multiple exposures to this test really does increase their score year after year. So in previous years of this presentation, we cited national research that suggested that multiple exposures to an assessment like this yields higher results in subsequent exposures. But this year, we're really proud because we are able to share our own academic data that provides evidence of this research. So what you can see here is that this graph shows the growth of our first cohort 1 students who took the AP in 7th grade and then retook the AP again in 8th grade. There's a 24% increase from students who attained a 3 or higher in 7th to 8th grade, which allowed those students to start the bridge program or a dual enrollment coursework in their 9th grade year. So we're really proud of those kids. They did great. They were our first cohort out there. So we had 12-year-olds scoring 3 in many cases. So we're really proud of that. And we are really proud to be able to show you that today. Our second chart here shows the growth of students who took the AP in 7th and 8th grade from our second cohort. So these are our 9th graders now. There was a 25% increase from students who attained a 3 or higher in 7th and 8th grade, which again allows students to start the bridge program or their dual enrollment coursework in 9th grade. So we're really proud of the work they're doing and really proud of the trend that this shows for our kids. And then just overall, we wanted to show just what the early impact of that AP exposure looks like. And this chart shows that the growth of students who took the AP in 7th and 8th grade for our second cohort, so now our 9th graders, there was a 25% increase from students who attained a 3 or higher in 7th and 8th grade, which again shows students to start the bridge program in the 9th grade year. So students who took the AP in 7th grade demonstrate significant growth when they retake it in their 8th grade, just to summarize that quickly. So we really hope that this makes a really good case for you to have your kid try the AP in the 7th grade for the first time, and again in the 8th grade with hopefully a lot of success. We're now going to have Mike Trago talk a little bit about what the pathway preview, what our pathways look like and what they can expect when they go into high school. So this is definitely more of a high school turn right now, and a little bit of a preview of the pathway preview nights that are planned for early November. So Mike, turning it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Vianevento. Introducing myself again, Mike Trago, Supervisor of College and Career Readiness for the Appoquinimink School District, which includes the pathways that you see on the screen here. So this is going to be just a short preview to what you're going to see if you attend high school preview night. So I'll just kind of give you an overall view of what you're going to see. This is a snippet from our course catalog that we have. We have 22 pathways for our students to select when they go into high school. Early on, like the conversation was around what are we going to do with the students who are in immersion, and overwhelmingly, we wanted to make sure that the students got a taste of their pathways as well as being able to still immerse themselves with their language throughout high school. So that's what we did, and I'll explain kind of how that starts in eighth grade, and then we'll continue through graduation. So this is just a quick look at the different pathways that we have. It's actually only half of them. You can see that we have, and they're all based like on industry. So you have agriculture, you have business, you have culinary arts, the field of education, health sciences. And if you go to the next slide, we'll see the rest. School of Language and Literature, civic leadership, and including criminal justice, visual arts, and performing arts, STEM pathways, as well as construction. And then we also have some other programs that exist, such as JROTC. They're not necessarily a pathway, but they are ways that students can enhance their pathways. The next slide, please. So again, this is really going to be covered in depth over the coming months to parents and students. So right now, the students are in Compass learning about their pathways. If they haven't, they're going to be over the course of the next week or so. And high school preview night, which I'm going to give you the dates now, but you should also check email from your principals and the district and the social media accounts. It's kind of all over the place being advertised. High school preview night is next week. So on Tuesday, it's going to be at Appoquinimink High School on the 4th. On Wednesday, it'll be at Middletown High School on the 5th. And then on Thursday at Odessa High School on the 6th. Some parents like to, and families and students all like to visit all of the schools. You're more than welcome to. You're welcome to just go to your feeder school. But it'll give you an opportunity to see and experience the classrooms, talk to students, check out the hands-on activities that are happening, and everything else that kind of has to do with high school is all going to be there. So it is a heavily attended event. I recommend you get there early and get in the auditorium and get a seat. It's actually, this year we're opening it up to both 7th and 8th grade families. So we're running 2 start times. There will be a start time with the high school principal at 6 p.m. sharp. So get there at 5:45. And then there will be another one that's happening at 6:20. So if you don't get there right at 6, if you get there at 6:10, you can just wait until the 6:20 session. And there they're going to talk about all the different pathways and experiences that students have that's available to them in the Appoquinimink School District. This slide just kind of gives you an idea of what makes up a pathway, because some of the stuff that we hear from students and parents, like you may think like it's early to pick a pathway, or they don't know what they want to pick, and that's okay right now. We're going to figure that piece out, and I'll explain to you how that works. And actually, in their pathway, something to kind of make you feel better if you're not quite sure, there are pathways that are more generally focused, such as a humanities pathway or an advanced placement AP pathway, but they all have liberal arts electives, and there's actually more elective options for students to take than pathway requirements. So students usually take 5 or 6 or more elective courses on top of their they're actually pathway requirements. And I know Mr. Perry is going to get into scheduling a little bit later, but the students have 32 course offerings. So we have 8 periods during the whole school year when you add them up. And for over 4 years, that's 32 different opportunities. So you pick your pathway, there's 4 courses they take, but there's liberal arts electives in there. You can take band and chorus and all kinds of different humanities or extra sciences or extra maths or whatever it is that you want to take. You have your pathway courses. In it is embedded. You have a work-based learning requirement in your senior year. So that's only for 12th graders that do a 50-hour immersion. All students graduate with that. And they also do their capstone project usually as part of their work-based learning experience. They have access to advanced standing courses. And then they also have accelerated learning options. So what that means is for advanced standing courses, it's exactly what we were just talking about with the Dell State dual enrollments, the University of Delaware dual enrollments. We have articulation agreements with colleges. There's over 80 different courses that we offer that lead to college credit. So there are lots of options. I just said you have 32 different courses over 4 years. Over 80 of them lead to college credit. Okay. And then accelerated learning options. Well, this is accelerated for one, but also you could take summer enrichment courses. You can take math or PE, something along that, like that in the summertime. And then that would free up an extra spot uh, on your in your schedule. Let me check the chat real quick. Okay, that was for something else. All right, so I'll go back to that, Ms. Campbell. So every pathway requires 4 primary courses. They are aligned, and the way that we build them is they're aligned to industry standards. They're based on jobs in the field or college majors. So in other words, they're always going to lead to either college or directly into the career field, a 2-year or a trade school. And we want them to connect to the student's passion. Like, what do they want to do? What do they want to study? Next slide, please. So this is, I just have a couple of example slides. And again, you're going to get more of this at high school preview night, but you get all these electives on top of it. So this is an example from the course catalog that states that students need to take more electives on top. So, and by the way, when you get to high school, if you select your pathway and you don't like it in your freshman year, you can change it. It's super simple and easy. They just go down to their counselor and say, well, I picked culinary and I took a engineering class as an elective and I really liked my engineering class. Can I change that to my pathway? It's a yes. And then all they do is they flip it. And your culinary, which was your pathway course, becomes your elective, and the engineering elective becomes your pathway course. So you're still on track, and you can do that in 9th, even 10th grade. You can still change your pathway. All right, next slide, please. And a lot of what I'm talking about was built over the course of really a decade to try to get students the best, most competitive transcript that they can for selective and highly selective colleges. At the same time, while allowing them to earn industry certifications to go directly into employment. And we have students doing both, or going into the military, or going into the workforce and then wanting to come back out later and go to Del Tech, for example. It's really built for students to do all of those things. So here you just see a couple of different examples of some pathways. So here we have a business pathway. The student takes these 4 courses. And in this particular pathway, they earn 6 college credits with this one. And in the healthcare sciences, they earn another 6 college credits. So we have articulation agreements with different colleges for these courses. Next slide, please. Here are some other examples. I really want to highlight, just to give you an example of what this could look like and really dovetailing. Let's say hypothetically that your student chose the education and leadership pathway. I'm just going to tell you what this looks like right now. Currently, they would earn for creating and learning environments for learning 3 college credits. Sophomore year, they take AP Psychology, they take the exam, they get a 3 or higher, they get 3 more college credits. Principles of Curriculum and Literature is actually 2 courses built into one. It's still in a semester, but they're earning 6 college credits there. And then in Leadership and Collaboration is another 3. If they also take their Praxis exam, Wilmington University gives an additional 19 credits. And so there's 31 credits right there when you add up the pathway courses plus taking the industry certification, which is called the Praxis. There's an example of 31 college credits. You couple that with the Delaware State credits that you could earn, plus any other AP courses, many, if not all your students will take AP Human Geography. You take that and get a 3 or higher. There's another 3. So if you can see where I'm going with this, it is not difficult to see that you could earn anywhere between your first semester or your entire freshman year. And we have a goal with Delaware State University. We're working very closely that the students will earn 60, I think it's 62 or more, 60 or more, really. It's in the 60s, but they could reach 70 college credits by the time that they graduate. And then transferring them, that's a whole different story if that's what your plan is, to go to a different college. But that is specific to Delaware State University, and Wilmington University is no different, and some other colleges as well. So looking at computer science, another popular pathway, those are 2 AP courses in there, so you can earn 6 college credits with that particular pathway. All of our pathways have some kind of college credit built into it. Next slide, please.
We're going to have Brant Perry talk a little bit about the high school schedule because, as we just said, there's a lot of options that come with these pathways and with immersion classes and continuing on with those. So, Brant, could you take it from here and tell us a little bit about how the high school schedule works and maybe some options for planning out how to take these courses as they move through those 4 years?
Certainly, and thank you guys for being very thorough about the plans the district has. As families, you can see, we have a high rigor high school schedule and plan to prepare students for whatever it is they want to do post high school. What you have in front of you, I'm going to do this on one slide, so don't worry too much. Is a sample freshman schedule. Through the details, I won't read all the details for you, but one of the core understandings is that we can't offer every class at all times, and students are going to have to make decisions about both their core content courses as well as pathway electives. But one of the other benefits is that we have a A/B schedule for many of our classes, which means that students can take core classes for the most part throughout the entire year on every other day. This allows a student not to load up on all 4 core classes in one semester, have a little breathing room, as well as be prepared for any PSAT, SAT opportunities that they might be facing during the course of the year. Now, a core part to this schedule, all freshmen are expected to take health and PE. What this student did was they were able to take health and PE in the summer. What the district will continually try to do is offer these opportunities for courses. There's some science courses in there. I know they used to have some ELA courses to try to allow students to open up their schedule to provide for these opportunities, such as the bridge course, as you see here at the bottom. So the bridge courses also, to this point, the DSU courses are year-long, A day, B day, to really give the students an immersive feeling, because obviously we don't have core courses within the target language anymore at high school, but the opportunity does still exist. So again, a couple key takeaways. When the students begin to meet in February with counselors, and after you've experienced the pathway preview night, hopefully you'll have a really good idea of what they might want to look into doing, as well as understanding that we don't have 16 Bio 1 honors courses in a week, so those options can be limited. The other part is any chance they can to free up the space, as it says here, by taking some courses in the summer. We highly recommend it. That just goes a long way to being able for students to take some more rigorous content areas, and expand their just their opportunities to take the courses they want to get to. So one question. Yes, and A day or B day all year for the bridge courses. They are all year courses. And the other world language courses are typically semester based. Any other questions on that?
Thank you, Brant. I appreciate that.
Sure thing.
All right, I just want to remind everyone to drop any questions. I know you've been doing this, but just a quick reminder because we did throw a lot of information at you up until this point. But if you do have those questions, to drop them in the Q&A, and our panelists and everybody that's working behind the scenes are working really hard to get you the answers to those questions. So just a quick reminder before we go into our next slide, which is about the choice process. And Mrs. Julie Lauterbauer will be talking to us about the choice process, and this is for Spanish immersion families only.
Hi, welcome. Julie Lauterball from the Choice Office, and this is for the Spanish 8th grade students currently. If you do not want to attend your feeder school for next school year, the application will be on our district website starting on November 3rd at 8 a.m. and it goes till January 14th. Since you are in the district, you do not need to attach attendance, discipline, and grades. I'll be able to look at that information. And when you are on that choice application, it will have a question that asks if you're a current 8th grade parent, that you'll need to check that box. If you want to attend your feeder, there's no need to do an application. You will just be moved to your feeder. And then for those Chinese immersion students that are going into 9th grade next year, you've already been moved into Odessa High, so there's no need for an application. If you have any questions, I'm available anytime, and my number and phone number is on our website. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. I appreciate that. Again, that's for Spanish immersion who have the choice of going to our 3 high schools to continue their immersion career. Next, I have Jen Campbell, who's going to talk a little bit about the language opportunities that are available to our students in immersion and some of the opportunities that are available that are unique to our immersion learners.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, the next slide, please. All right. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about earning credit. So as an immersion student, they have the opportunity to not only enter the bridge program with their AP score, but they have the opportunity that Dr. Vianivento alluded to earlier to earn some high school credits. So as she stated earlier, every Delaware public school student must earn 2 world language credits to graduate. But since our students have already mastered that proficiency level in middle school, they are able to get credit for prior learning through their STAMP score. So we look at their 8th grade STAMP composite score, and we have a system to determine, based on proficiency level attained, how many credits they'll earn in high school. And they actually correlate to the non-immersion students' proficiency goals for that level as well. So if a student earns a composite score of 3, they will get 2 credits. If they earn a composite score of 4, they will get 3 credits in high school. If they earn a 5 or above, then they will get 4 credits on their transcript. And the transcript will indicate that the credits have been awarded for the corresponding course. Additionally, a score of 5 or above in all skills, so not just the composite score, which gives you an average, but we look at all individual skills. And if a student gets, excuse me, a 5 or above in all of the skills, they meet the state requirements for the language side of the Certificate of Multiliteracy. So on the next slide, I'll talk to you a little bit about what that means. All right. So the Delaware Department of Education has established a Certificate of Multiliteracy, and that recognizes all high school students who have attained a certain level of proficiency in 1 or more languages in addition to English. So Delaware high school students can apply for 2 levels of the certificate, either the gold or the diamond, but here's how they earn it. If they get a stamp score of a 5 or above in Spanish or Chinese or any other language for any other student, they can earn the gold level as long as they meet the English requirements as well. So our immersion students are already poised to earn the Spanish or the Chinese side with their 8th grade stamp scores. And many of them actually do earn that before they even get into high school. And I'll talk about the English requirements in just a second. But what we do is we look at all of our immersion students and their stamp scores to see if they are either on their way to earn it or if they are able to earn it as soon as they hit 9th grade. So there's 4 different gateways to earn it on the English side. And the first one is in 8th grade. If they get a 3 on the state assessment, the Smarter Balance test in ELA. So if they do that in English and they do the 5 or higher on the stamp test, or if they get a 3 on the AP exam, they can earn it for the other language as well. If they don't quite get it in 8th grade, then I put their name on a list and I monitor their English testing throughout their high school career. So their Spanish or Chinese stamp scores will follow them through the high school career, and I'll monitor for other opportunities. So the next opportunity comes in 10th grade or 9th grade, depending on when they take the PSAT. And there's different benchmarks for that as well in the English language arts section. And then finally, if they don't meet it in 8th grade, 9th grade, or 10th grade, then they can also meet it in their 11th grade with their SAT score. So there's a lot of different opportunities to earn the English side once they earn the Spanish or Chinese side. One more thing about that is if they don't earn it in all 4 skills right away, I still also keep their data on a spreadsheet. And I can call them when we do our certificate of multiliteracy testing, usually once or twice a year. This year, I think we're doing it in January, but next year might be different. So I will call them down to just retake the one section of the test that they need to retake. So I know that's a lot of information about that, but to sum that all up, if they pass the stamp test and meet certain criteria on that or the AP test, as well as certain English benchmarks, they're able to earn a certificate of multiliteracy through the state of Delaware. So just a little bit of data for you. Approximately 75 SPIM students have earned the certificate of multiliteracy in or before 9th grade. Again, we don't have Chinese just yet because they haven't entered high school. We still have several on the waiting list, some waiting for English criteria to be met, or students that I'll be calling in January to retake 1 or 2 skills in Spanish. Like I said earlier, those scores stay with the student until they meet that criteria, and high school has additional testing rounds each year. Now, what they get when they earn the certificate is a nice certificate bound by the Department of Education that comes and is delivered to their school. And then when they are a senior, they will get a medal. I kind of posted a little picture there of it so you could see it. They get that medal to wear at graduation along with their cap and gown. So they're recognized as soon as they earn the certificate, and then they're recognized again as a senior as a recipient of the certificate of multiliteracy. So I dropped my email in there. If you have any questions about that specific certificate of multiliteracy, you can certainly email me. Otherwise, that's all I have for certificate and credits.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. So just to kind of boil this down, and again, if you still have questions, we're all going to put our email up at the end, but also if you have them as we go through this, drop them in the Q&A and we will get to them. But to boil this all down, we talked a lot about different tests, different awards, different opportunities, different classes, things like that. It's a lot. It's a lot, I understand. I just kind of wanted to have this slide on here to kind of boil it down because there are some decisions, especially in middle school, that I know have already been talked about at the buildings, and we want you to have at the forefront of your mind as you go through this. So who should take the AP exam? I would say everybody, but that's me and I'm biased. But students interested in taking DLI, dual enrollment courses for the Bridge program in high school, we recommend that if you have an interest in continuing with the Bridge program, please take the AP exam in 7th grade at the first opportunity that you're able to. Students who have not previously taken the AP exam and would like the exposure or the practice. So for example, that could be 8th grade students, and students who would like the recognition from DDOE of their immersion career with the 1 chord when they graduate. Those are the 3. But again, just wanted to boil it down for you onto one slide before we moved on to our Meredith testing coordinator, Olivia Suhanik, who's going to talk a little bit about what the process for registering for an AP exam looks like at Meredith. So Olivia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. So we are entering our 4th year, I believe, of registering students for the AP exam. And there's a process that we go through, and the students have been informed of this process. Those in 8th grade have been informed of the process now twice. But I came through into the classes and I gave everybody a paper copy of some of the things that are linked here and walked them through kind of step by step this process and what you have to do. It all starts with a College Board account first, which has to be made with the families at home. We do not make them in school for the students. College Board really likes to talk to the families. They don't like to talk to the schools. So having the webinar tonight reinforces that information that we sent home. There is an on-time deadline of November 14th for the AP test. They will allow you to register until March 13th, but doing that later into the winter, early spring adds an extra fee on top of that. We can't do anything about that fee, again, because it goes through the College Board. And then the students are set to take their exam on May 14th. That exam day is created and given to us by College Board. This year, the test is from 8 to noon. That's actually always been the time that we've given it at our school. It's a College Board exam given at Meredith. So there are protocols and materials and everything that gets shipped to the school. And the kids are walked through this process step by step by me. And they're split up into classrooms and they take the exam. And they persevere and it's hard and they do a really good job. Can you go to the next slide, please? So this is just a quick little snapshot of the things that were sent home. We've sent it home, I think, twice through email now. You probably have gotten that email from Mrs. Phillips, who is our assistant principal in charge of testing along with me. So the first thing that you would do is start with the account. The 7th grade has one little speed bump in the process because they have to make sure that they're filling out the consent form. The families have to fill out an extra form for them because they are under 13. And those are the rules that are outlined by College Board. So that has something that you have to, I gave all of the kids a paper copy. You just have to fill that out and sort of email or fax, if you still do that, fax that back. And then that will kind of trigger an email sent to you, which will give you a little chip or a code that you will put in, and then that's how you make the account. And then once you have the account, you're going to set yourself up with one of our tests if you're in 7th grade or 8th grade. And then really at that point, you're good until you have to make your payment. Payments can go to the school. We do collect the payments because we are invoiced by College Board, and then we take those payments and pay College Board after the test is given in the spring. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me via email. I've already had a couple come through, and we will be processing orders, the on-time orders, on November 14th. Thank you.
We also have Dora Veit, who's here from Cantwell's Bridge Middle School, who organized this for the first time last year. Dora?
Thank you, Sarah. So good evening, families. This is our second year that we are going to be taking part in the AP testing. Your students have already received the paperwork that went home. I stopped by classrooms late September, and you should have received a follow-up email the following day. But here's our timeline. So tonight we're here and we're learning a little bit more about the AP process. The on-time deadline for the orders is going to be November 14th. And again, all steps must be followed. I'll go over that on the next slide. But on March 13th will be our late deadline. And again, there is a fee for the late fee. And then we will be taking the test on May 8th. And again, we'll walk them through that process. We start at 12, and we've learned from last year that we will probably be at school until about 4, but they really persevere and work hard and try their best on the test. So it's really great to see. Next slide, please. So again, all students will need to have an account through the College Board. Any student who is under 13, so some of our 7th graders, will have to take that extra step of completing the under 13 consent information. And then once that's completed, the account can then be created. For 7th grade and 8th grade, there are 2 separate join codes, so please make sure that you are clicking on the correct code. And then payment can be processed through our online website, and then we'll process that over to the College Board. So again, there's just some information there. There's a QR that has a little bit more information about the process as well as links to the College Board. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help. Thank you.
We wanted to wrap up just by thanking everybody that was here today, our panelists, everybody that is on the tech team working behind the scenes to make this webinar possible for all of you in anticipation of the preview night and everything else that goes into this time of year. We really appreciate everything that our immersion learners do for us as a team. We are so inspired by them every single day, so proud of the work that they do, and inspired by to see what they're going to do in this world that we have. So we really believe in them, and are so proud to celebrate everything that is coming their way, whether it be in middle school or in high school. So celebration to all of you, and thank you for being such an important part of their career so far. If you have any questions that we didn't get to in the chat or that were unanswered, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. This is my email address right here. So I'm ASD Immersion at APO. Julie Lauterbach, who's in charge of Choice. This is her email right here. So if you have any questions about what that process may be, please reach out to her. If you had any dual enrollment questions or any of the questions about the pathways, we have our DSU partner here, Dr. Young, and also Mike Trago. So if you have questions for them, they'd be more than happy to check in. But we're more than happy to answer any questions that might be. And again, we'll be sharing this with everybody who is not able to be here. We want to thank you very much for attending tonight. We know that this is a hard time, but we're actually on time, which is great. And we really appreciate, again, everything that you do for our learners and for our program and for our district. Thank you and have a great night.